Today we gather for one of the most cherished rituals in our Unitarian Universalist tradition, the water communion. Each of us has brought water, whether literally or symbolically, to represent the summer journeys we have taken, the moments of renewal, the stories that have carried us through. Some waters are from distant oceans or lakes. Some are from the tap in our own kitchens. Some represent tears of sorrow, others joy. Each drop is unique, yet when we pour them together, they create a shared vessel of life and meaning. The image of water flowing together is no accident. Our lives, too, come together here. Our different backgrounds, hopes, talents, and commitments converging into a community greater than the sum of its parts. This morning, as we reflect on this sacred confluence, I invite us also to think about commitment. Not only the commitment we make to ourselves or our own spiritual journeys, the commitment we make to one another, to this congregation, to its work, to its governance, and to its future. Because just as water cannot flow without many drops joining together, this congregation cannot thrive without each of us lending our gifts of time, energy, and presence. The word confluence literally means the flowing together of two or more streams into a single river. If you've ever stood at the meeting of rivers, you know it is both beautiful and powerful. The waters may be different colors, different temperatures, moving at different speeds, but eventually they blend into one current. So it is with us. We are a confluence of histories, cultures, beliefs, and experiences. Some of us have been here for decades. Some just arrived this month. Some of us were raised Unitarian Universalist. Others come from different faith traditions, and some with no tradition at all. Yet here, our streams converge. What makes a confluence sacred is not the erasure of difference, but the honoring of it. The recognition that when streams meet, the river grows stronger, more capable of carrying life downstream. In this way, the water communion is not just a ritual, it is a lesson. It reminds us that a faith community is not a stagnant pond, but a living river. We are always moving, changing, and being reshaped by the waters that join us. But confluence alone is not enough. A river must have direction, banks to guide it, and tributaries to sustain it. Likewise, our congregation needs not just our presence, but our commitment. Commitment is what transforms being into responsibility. It is what makes a congregation not just a collection of individuals, but a covenantal community. And commitment is needed most not just in the pews, but in the work of governance, serving on the board of trustees, joining committees, leading projects, volunteering in ways that ensure our community thrives. Too often, when we think of church life, we think only of Sunday mornings, the music, the sermons, the rituals. But behind every Sunday service is a team of people, a worship committee that planned it, a board that approved the budget for it, volunteers who set up the chairs and brewed the coffee. The spiritual vitality of a congregation is inseparable from the practical work of its governance and care. And that work requires us. It requires you. Now, some might ask, is this not just institutional maintenance? Why should we lift up board service and committee work in worship service? Because for us as Unitarian Universalists, volunteerism is not merely logistical, it is theological. Ours is a covenantal faith, not a creedal one. We do not gather around shared doctrine, but around shared promises. That means our community exists only because we continually commit ourselves to making it real. To serve on a board or committee is to live out our covenants. It is to embody our principles, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, the democratic process, the interconnected web. It is to say, I will not just receive the gifts of this community, but I will help sustain and guide it. Volunteerism is the practice of our faith. It is how we embody love, not just in words, but in structure. Think of a river without its banks. It spills everywhere, dissipates, and eventually dries up. It is the banks that give it shape and direction, allowing it to nourish fields and communities downstream. Our governance, the board of trustees, our committees, our task forces, are those riverbanks. They do not stop the flow of spirit, but they guide it, giving channels through which it can nourish life. Serving on the board or a committee is not about bureaucracy, it is about stewardship. It is about ensuring the gifts of this congregation flow not just for us, but for those who will come after us. When you serve, you become part of shaping the direction of the river. What justice work will we support? How will we care for our building and grounds? How will we manage our finances so that our values are reflected in our budget? These are not abstract questions. They are deeply spiritual questions about how our community lives its faith. Of course, commitment is not easy. We are busy. We have families, jobs, obligations. Sometimes we feel we don't have enough energy left to give. But commitment is not about giving what we do not have. It is about recognizing that what we do have is valuable, even if small. 1 hour of your time on a committee, one idea you share at a board meeting, one willingness to help with a project, all of it matters. And the truth is, commitment nourishes us too. When we pour ourselves into the life of the community pours back into us. We discover friendships, skills, a sense of purpose we didn't know we had. Yes, there will be challenges. There will be meetings that run long, disagreements about direction, moments of frustration. But even those are part of spiritual growth. In learning to listen, compromise, and collaborate, we practice the very virtues of our world, which is so desperately needed. Let us reclaim governance as a spiritual discipline. Meditation and prayer teach us to be present. Serving on a committee teaches us patience and persistence. Singing hymns teaches us harmony. Working on the board teaches us discernment and courage. All of these are spiritual practices. All of these deepen our faith. So when we ask for volunteers, we are not just asking for warm-up bodies to fill slots. We are inviting you into a spiritual practice, into a way of living your faith through service. Here at our Confluence, we can commit ourselves to being a river of love and justice. That requires strong banks, committees that function, a board that leads, volunteers who serve. So I ask you, what commitment will you make this year? Will you serve on the board? Will you join a committee? Will you help with worship, with finance, with hospitality? Whatever your gifts, there is a place for you in this river. In a moment, we will pour our waters together. Each drop will join the others, forming a confluence that represents our shared life. As you watch the waters mix, I invite you to manage your own commitment flowing into the river. Not just your water, but your time, your talent, your love. Because this river needs you. It cannot flow without you. My friends, we are at the confluence. May we commit ourselves anew to one another, to this congregation, to the sacred work of governance and care. And may our commitments flow like living waters into the wider world, bringing life wherever they go. May we cause it to be so. Blessed be. Amen. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Namaste. Thank you all so much.